What up, dudes? It's Gaz. And welcome back to another Warframe video. So I got a quick one for you today. We got some updates to the Zombie Revenant loadout. The old video's still good, but yeah, with some of these new 1999 items, arcanes, and more, we are doing even better than ever. And oh yeah, also forgot to mention, the meta's changed a lot for high levels since my previous Zombie Revenant video in like the middle of last year. So let's get right into it today. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff. The right place for Warframe content. I appreciate all the support recently, guys. It really means a lot. Alright, so with these changes to Zombie Revenant, we are able to shred any faction of enemy at any level for the most part. So with this build today and some of the changes we've made, we can actually now shred enemy overguard faster than ever. We can actually move faster than ever. We can also get more crit chance than ever. And we also can bypass enemy shields with some of the changes to some of the companions and procs in Warframe. So let's get right into what we have today. But as you can see in the background footage, this build is shredding level 10,000 enemies. That is what this build is meant for. This build is not meant for your level 100 captures. This is meant for fighting high-level stuff that hits really hard, and there's a lot of them all over the place that are really, really tanky too. So that being said, let's get into what we have today. Okay, so for the Zombie Revenant, we're going to be using some of the same weapons and builds from the previous video, but with some small changes here and there because of these new changes to the meta. And I'm going to describe all the meta changes that I'm going to be discussing here because there are some pretty substantial ones if you don't pay attention to every little change. Now, first big change for the meta and what Zombie Revenant is doing nowadays. Now, back when I made that previous video, armor skilling was a lot different in Warframe. They've made armor skilling a lot less aggressive now, so you do not need to fully armor strip anymore. You can, there's nothing wrong with fully armor stripping, but I'm just saying you don't need to do it anymore, and I'm showing you that today. In the footage we just showed, that is with one green Emerald Archon Tau Shard for 3 extra corrosive procs. This will make it where you remove most of the enemy's armor. It's not all of the enemy's armor. On the previous Zombie Revenant build, we had 2 normal green green shards, not Tau, to be full armor strip, and we had 1 less yellow shard. Now that the armor is so nerfed, basically level 10,000 enemies have the same armor as like a level, like a level 200 heavy gunner, so it's not very high armor at all. You can put on 1 green emerald shard to remove most of their armor and shred them really, really easily. That being said, just like the previous video, we're trying to go through these missions really fast because the way that the meta works in Warframe, the faster you beat these missions, the faster you can farm more stuff. And the faster you go from point A to point B, the faster you get that loot too. So mobility, very important. Also, making sure we can cast our abilities to never die is also important too. So I've got 2 casting speed Tau Shards on Revenant. Now, you don't need these. These are definitely a bit overkill. 1 would be fine. But yeah, we've got some casting speeds so we can recast our Mesmer skin in case anything goes wrong. If we jump into like a nullifier bubble or whatever. The other 2 shards are 2 parkour shard, 2 yellow parkour Tau shards from increased movement speed throughout the mission. This lets us play disruptions and cascade missions really, really fast. And basically, you'll get spoiled by using these a little bit. You'll be like, I wish I had these still. Whenever you use parkour shards, after that, every frame that does not have them feels slow. So you've been warned, okay? Now moving past the shards, yeah. So yeah, again, no longer need 2 green shards because the enemy's armor is so nerfed, especially with Nourish on here. We're going to go over the new Zombie Revenant build changes, but there's not that many changes, just a heads up. The basis of the build still stays the same. The entire idea of this build is to combine Nourish with Energy Nexus mod to infinitely sustain Mesmer skin stacks. And the way this works is that Energy Nexus gives 3 energy regeneration per second. Nourish gives an energy regeneration multiplier, actually all energy sources multiplier. So we multiply this by this, and that lets us infinitely cast this. So it's 77 energy to recast Mesmer skin, and we're getting about 9 energy per second before we stack everything all up from Energy Nexus. So even without everything fully stacked up, we can actually infinitely sustain Mesmer skin off of that much energy. So the more power strength, the better, but you don't need to overkill it too much. But as far as the changes that have been made here, the main change has been to the Aura mod. Worthy Camaraderie is now out, and it gives your squad increased weak point critical chance. Against some of these high-level enemies, headshots are pretty helpful, especially with our dual toxicist. This will help a ton on the dual toxicist. But yeah, this is the main thing that's been changed here. You could use it on any of your DPS weapons of choice as long as it's going for headshots. So, you know, like the Angstrom, the Furus, the dual tox, Torrid even, Bursted even, all of them would benefit from this as long as you're going for headshots. That's what we're doing today with the Zombie Revenant. As far as the rest of the stuff, continuity for longer duration with the recast everything so often. Mesmer Shield to give our teammates some Mesmer Skin stacks, very helpful. Also gives us 50% more power strength on Mesmer Skin itself. Just basically makes you a mini support, and it makes it your teammates are not allowed to die until you say so. Vigorous swap. Now, this is definitely another level of tryhard that's not necessary. We deal a lot of damage already without even using Vigorous swap, but if you are using the full loadout, this can be another level of extra damage that you can unleash on the enemies. Basically, you throw out your spear gun, you swap to your dual tox, and you get this damage buff on there to shred those enemies. Umbral Intensified. Now, this could be Precision Intensified to buff Nourish more, but I would prefer just to have everything buffed besides not only Nourish with Precision Intensify, so I'm okay with running Umbral Intensify instead. But yeah, Precision is fine too. Blind Rage on here for a bunch of power strength. Rolling Guard on here. Now, this is another personal preference of mine. I know a lot of people don't like when I put Revenant with with Rolling Guard. You gotta remember too, guys, I am a streamer. I am live streaming a lot of time when I'm playing this game, so I'm looking at chat. I'm like tabbing out and stuff. So for me, I like to have this. If you're not like getting distracted mid-mission, maybe you could take this off. But for me, it stays on for sure. You also do not need Prime Shift Foot on Revenant as his Mesmer Skin prevents knockdowns. But yeah, a good mod if you like jump into another fire bubble if you got caught in fire somehow. If you're in a, it's really just basically for streamers, I'd say. So if you don't want to run this, like run like a parkour velocity mod, I suppose, or like maybe Augur Secrets or something. Just really not a big deal. I'd say keep it on there though. If the last mod, Prime Flow, gives us an increased energy pool, not needed actually for this build at all, because we only need 77 energy to recast Mesmer Skin, and 77 to recast Nourish. You can do that with 225, but I like to have Flow on there just for increased energy pool. As far as our arcades, we got Multi Augmented for more power strength for Nourish, and Arc and Precision, because we're using the dual toxis as our main DPS source, this will be buffing it up a lot, especially with Worthy Camaraderie. Now moving on to the next one, we got the Scourge Prime here. Now as far as what's changed on the Scourge Sphere Gun build, we got the new mod Magnetic Capacity. I had Radiated Reload on there before, I think. I just don't like rad procs, honestly. So this could give you some magnetic procs, which will debuff the enemy's Overguard. Pretty nice. We've also got Corrosive built into the Scourge. So we got Armor Strip and Overguard debuff with just this weapon alone. Additionally, this thing can be used to get guaranteed headshots if we throw it out at an enemy. That can help with getting guaranteed Incarnon ammo as well. The ribbon does not matter. The ribbons don't matter on any of this stuff, really. This is basically here for more multi-shot and status chance to debuff them faster. Our main DPS weapon of choice is the dual toxicist Incarnon with the perks Fevered Frenzy, Marksman's Hand, and Commodore's Fortune. Now, about Fevered Frenzy, you can use the new Pistol Acuity mods on the dual tox if you want to, but for me, I don't like to sacrifice my multi-shot in the dual tox. It's just got too many bullets to sacrifice that. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to run this and get 100% multi-shot to catching 100 abilities. But if you want to use Acuity, you can use that instead. But just make sure you take this perk off, because multi-shot does not work with Acuity. But looking at the new build here, we've changed a few little things. Now, as I said, enemy's armor is massively nerfed, so we don't need to go for as much corrosive anymore. The big difference between the previous build and this one is that in this slot, I used to have the Pistol Pestilence mod, which would let us have corrosive at all times. But reminder, the dual toxicist gets toxin on headshot, and that will combine with our electric mod to get corrosive so we can remove enemy armor and kill them really fast. Now, here's a big change with the Warframe Next 99 update that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of these mods don't combine anymore. We've talked about our Pharaoh Predicite Pet. Those mods don't combine anymore, so they'll be separate mods, but the dual toxicist still combines. So you still get corrosive if you get headshots to the dual toxicist, so it's going to become corrosive, magnetic, and with Nourish you get viral too. So magnetic, corrosive, viral, very, very good at debuffing. Another thing that's changed, and of course you don't have to run this, I've got Outburst over Deadhead. Deadhead is nice and convenient, but Outburst is also really good for crit damage and crit chance too. So basically you get a bunch of melee combos, you swap to your pistol, and you get all that combo can turn into crit damage and crit chance for your pistol. It can be very powerful against high level enemies. But yeah, the rest of the stuff is basically multi-shot and fire rate. Galvanized shot's great too. If you don't have a ribbon, you can try out that new mod Merciless Gunfight. Basically like a mini ribbon. It gives critical damage and punch through. It's just basically a worse version of my ribbon, so you can try that out for sure. And of course, these Acuity mods, you can try them out, but reminder, there's no multi-shot allowed on those builds, so it's not really what I'd be recommending in long endurance runs. And for our Praedos, this would be used as a mobility stat stick and a crescendo stat stick. We will get finishers, and then stack those finishers up to get a bunch of crit damage on our dual tox. The build on there is not really meant, it's literally meant just to get crescendo stacks. So you basically do a finisher, get a bunch of initial combo, and then stack it up, just keep swapping back and forth. Now let's go ahead and show how this works in practice in the sim here. Now I'm going to show you how this build works. So this build does not need orbs usually. So we're going to cast Nourish. Look at our energy bar slowly going up. Once we get some more multi-augmented stacks, maybe even use Matter Eye, we'll be able to cast it easier, but we've already gotten our Mesmer Skin back. So we cast our Mesmer Skin, now we're in business. We can summon the enemies in, and we'll have no issues at all surviving. Okay, so I'm going to throw up my Scourge. Now they have guaranteed headshots. I switch to my dual tox. Now we're in guaranteed Incarnon, and they are all dead. So basically, that's how the dual tox works. As long as you get the headshots, you can get these crazy Incarnon ammo bullets that can chain between enemies. And also, if you use the abilities the way we told you, we're already at full energy again. So, yeah, really good stuff. And as you can see, they're taking lots of types of procs. And I'd also like to let you know, we do not have our arcane stacked up at all right now, too. So, we're missing a ton of stats for extremely high level damage. So, yeah, anyone can basically do that. This requires, a bunch of legendary arcanes and stuff like that, too. So, we got Batterai needed in Void Cascade to... Well, not needed technically, but heavily encouraged in Void Cascade to kill the Thrax as efficiently as possible. But here's the another thing I want to show you guys as well. So if you haven't played in a while, you might not know about this. I said some mods don't combine anymore. This is one of them. Anabolic Pollination for the Praedos. This will give you increased toxin damage, but it will not combine. So with this, we can one-shot Corpus now too. Because of this, it gives us built-in toxin procs. So now we can shred enemy armor. We can break enemy overguard with magnetic. We can bypass enemy shields with toxin. And all the other stuff we're doing too. So lots of diversified damage here. And also the Praedos can do lots of good stuff for us as well. Since we got Viral covered, we can get Tenacious Bond and Contagious Bond. Oh, not Tenacious Bond and Reinforced Bond for fire rate and crit damage. Very, very good. This thing's not too shabby at killing enemies either with its AoE fire procs. As far as the stance, you can put on Assassin's Posture, you can put on Elusive Posture. All it really matters is just it doubles the loot for you. Let's just go ahead and show some Corpus here too. And show how the Praedos ability works. So it just shook itself right there. So let's get some, techs, I guess. They're pretty tanky, so they shouldn't die in one bullet, hopefully. So let's go ahead and summon them in. Now, watch where the dog is shaking. If the dog shakes, it's dropping its ability on the ground. And that's where you should go pick that up. Let's see. It buffed itself. It didn't look like it buffed me. So there's the Toxin proc there. So right there. Anabolic Pollination. We have Toxin procs in our gun now, and it will bypass enemy shields. So as you see, we can shred Corpus. We can shred Grenier. We can shred pretty much anything we need to with this build that's been updated for 2025. So, again, I'll link the previous video in the description if you guys want to check that out. It's still good to go. But yeah, these changes have made the build even better. And I did give it a test drive for 4 hours the other day. So I'd say it's pretty much good to go after that test drive. So, you guys let me know how you feel about Revenant in the comments down below. I know a lot of people don't like him because he's really boring. And I will say that I've been finding Assimilate Nyx to be, air quotes, better than Revenant. But it's not like it's actually strictly better than Revenant. I would say that Nyx doesn't really buff her teammates as much as Revenant does with the Mesmer Shield augment. What can Nyx do? Remove enemy armor, cause rad procs to make enemies attack each other, mind control enemy here and there, and then make herself invincible, basically. What does Revenant do? Similar things, honestly. He can mind control more enemies than Nyx. He can give everybody Mesmer Skin with his augment, which is the big thing. His 3 is more of a selfish ability, but it can still give Mesmer Skin stacks to his teammates. And his ulti is normally removed for a Helmuth. Nourish in this case. So, yeah, I think that he can be more useful than Nyx, but Nyx is probably more easy to play, even easier to play than this, funny enough, because as long as you don't get fully nullified, you're just invincible all the time. So, yeah, still, he's a top 5 frame, I'd say, for endurance either way. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.